Sorry, I misspoke myself there. Actually, Glorious Revolution was the Restoration itself. Pardon me. Cromwell, of course, being unseated, you wind up getting James II back to the throne, and Charles II will wind up succeeding him. Will continue, even though they consider themselves the monarchs. They see this Navigation Act as being a benefit to England. The thing that's really going to tip the scales is going to wind up being what we call the 7 Years' War, the French and Indian War. In order to pay for all of this, they start levying other taxes, and that really puts a huge burden onto a lot of the merchants and a lot of the laborers in the colonies. Now, how much of a burden? Let's ask this question, because should you tax anyone that doesn't happen to have representation? There's other things. People have a tendency to think that if you're a colonist, that you are going to be living a rough life. It's going to be really, really hard. You've got to feed yourself hand to mouth. You've got to worry about Indian incursions. You've got to worry about French incursion. You've got to worry about a bunch of other things. Well, here is really the reality of things at this time. In England, if you lived in England, you paid infinitely more taxes than you did in the colonies. That's correct. If you lived in the colonies, you actually paid less taxes. In addition, if you lived in England, especially in the city like London or other places like that, your life expectancy was much lower. Your birth mortality rate was much higher, meaning that children or mothers would die in childbirth much in greater numbers in England than they did in the colonies. And so what you actually had was an increase in population in the colonies that began to outstretch that from the mother country. And so you begin to get a different sense of identity that's taking place in these colonies. With the American Revolution, with that break with the mother country, we start to look at new and different ways of employing labor. Now, do not forget that a lot of what's going to differentiate the type of labor needed is going to be the type of economic processes in the regions of the country. The South is going to be largely agrarian. It is going to have those cash crops, rice. It's going to have cotton, tobacco, eventually cotton, tobacco, amongst others. And the North is going to have shipbuilding, industry, and other various different trades taking place. Yes, life expectancy. That's what I was chatting about earlier. So you do want to keep into mind that if you were a colonist here in America, you actually had a better life on average than those that were actually living in England at the time. You had a better opportunity to be a member of standing within your community right alongside the employer who was hiring you. This is going to be one of the things that's going to change as time goes on. Once we wind up getting away from the Navigation Acts and we're able to trade with everybody, and you have a period of prosperity that really propels individuals who own their shops into a higher standard of living from those that work for them. And the employer / master is now separate and apart from those who are employed below them. This is when you start to wind up getting the differentiation, and you also wind up getting the need for these laborers to begin to collectively bargain, to unionize. And this is what we're talking about. We are talking about labor pulling together to better their station themselves and their status in society. This has been something that has been ongoing for many years and will continue to go on. Also add to the separation of the owner or proprietor of the business from the employees, to the fact that while the owner, and there was large amounts of prosperity taking place, was making money, those who were owning the stores were also looking for ways to cut costs. There was a period where costs of living were increasing dramatically. And when cost of living increases and wages stay stagnant or even decrease, you are looking at a effective decrease in salary. Now, if you earn, let's say, $30,000 a year, and the cost of living goes up over the course of 2 to 3 years of 66%, you are looking at an effective decrease in salary of near to the same. Instead of 30,000, think of it in terms of 15. And this is what the worker was beginning to encounter at this time. And so you saw the beginnings of proto-unions taking place. So I just wanted to send out these two particular videos to give a brief explanation of some of the reading that was taking place, to give some background to the type of economy that did exist going into a new economy that is going to be based off of Adam Smith's theories, right? Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations. This is a new concept going from the closed economy of the Navigation Acts going into an open economy that is based off of the potential that a region or a country has, as opposed to the amount of hard currency that it actually possesses. And when there's a big pie, everybody's going to want a piece of it. So pay attention to your reading. Think about the environment that the laborer is finding themselves in, and think about the environment that the owner are finding themselves in. At the same time, the predominant thought process that is hitting the economic system in the late 18th, early 19th century is going to be laissez-faire, hands off. Allow the economy to run itself, to correct itself. As always, if you have concerns or questions, reach out to me. You all have my cell phone number, and you can shoot me a text. I will respond. Thank you very much, and I will be doing more of these as time goes on to try to help clarify things for you. I look forward to seeing you once classes begin, or if we need to have a Zoom session, just reach out and let me know. I'll talk to you later. Have yourselves a wonderful time.